What's up everyone? Welcome to this video on how to care for your pet praying mantis. Keeping a mantis as a pet is interesting, fun, and not at all hard, just as long as a few basic requirements are met. Let's start with housing. To keep a mantis, you must have a suitable container to keep it in. The container must be well ventilated, and the height of the container must be at least 3 times the length of the mantis. This is for 2 reasons. Reason 1 is because mantises are classed as arboreal creatures and they like to climb, so they need an enclosure that is taller as it is wide. Reason number 2 is that mantises molt hanging upside down from the lid of the enclosure. I'll put a picture in now so you can see how a mantis molts. By providing a tall enclosure, you're ensuring that the mantis has ample space to molt and avoiding the chance of mismolts. This will be explained later in the video. The substrate on the bottom of the enclosure can be anything that absorbs excess moisture but does not go mouldy. This can be potting soil, vermiculite, cocoa fibre, or even just kitchen paper. The enclosure of your mantis can be decorated with branches or leaves, but don't over-decorate. Keep it simple so that the mantis still has space to move and molt. As for temperature and humidity, each species mantis has its own specific requirements, so please check out a species-specific care video depending on which species of mantis you have. However, for most beginner species, such as the giant Asian mantis, the giant African mantis, or the Chinese mantis, temperatures of 22 to 28 degrees are more than sufficient, with a drop of 17 to 18 degrees at night. Humidity can be kept at 60 to 80 degrees. However, I cannot stress enough that you need to check out a species-specific care video. As for feeding your mantis, most species aren't at all fussy about what they eat, as long as the prey item is no bigger than a third of the length of your mantis. It's important to point out that prey items like mealworms are high in fat and should not be given to your mantis as a main meal. And also crickets should not be left inside your mantis's enclosure as they are aggressive and may bite the mantis when it is molting. Small mantises can be happily fed on fruit flies. Larger mantises can be given locusts, flies or waxworms. Younger mantises should be fed more often than adult mantises. I would offer a young mantis 3 to 5 fruit flies every 1 to 2 days, depending on the size of your mantis's abdomen. A mantis with a large abdomen that looks full probably is full and shouldn't be overfed. An adult mantis can be fed 1 to 2 times a week, depending on the sex of your mantis, as females should be fed more often, the size of the prey item, and the size of your mantis's abdomen. Mantises will stop feeding when they're not hungry. However, it's also important not to overfeed your mantis, as a large abdomen can result in some health issues. Mantids, like most insects, must periodically shed their skins to allow them to grow. This is called molting, and is a very important time for your mantis. Signs that your mantis may be about to molt include your mantis refusing to eat or being lethargic, hanging from the roof of the enclosure loosely, and swollen wing buds, especially in subadults, which is the molt before a mantis gets its wings and becomes an adult. If your mantis shows these signs, leave him or her alone for 3 to 7 days and wait until your mantis molts. Your mantis usually shows the first sign of molting almost a week before it molts. When your mantis is preparing to molt, you must ensure that temperature and humidity are correct. When your mantis is molting, it is also really important that you leave it alone. Leave it to do its thing. However, even if you do everything right, mismolts do occur occasionally. This is normal and there is usually not much you can do. Mismolts can occur if your mantis falls during molting, gets stuck in their skin, or does not have enough room to molt properly and end up deformed. Don't let it get you down too much if your mantis has a mismolt. Just make sure everything is right and try again with a different type of mantis. When your mantis develops its wings, it has reached adulthood and will not molt again. Sexing your mantis is simple but easier to recognise in larger mantids. Females are generally broader and larger than males, but the most reliable way to sex your mantis is counting the number of abdominal segments from underneath. It's simple. Females have 5 or 6 segments and males have 7 to 8 segments, with a smaller segment than females at the tip of the abdomen. Breeding mantids will not be covered in detail here. However, I will drop a video down in the description if you are interested in breeding mantids. So, to conclude this care video, keeping a mantis is fun and fairly straightforward, provided you follow the instructions. Don't hesitate to check out a species-specific video, and if you haven't ever kept a mantis, I would strongly recommend it as an alternative pet. Feel free to drop a comment down below if you have any questions, but otherwise, happy mantis keeping, and please like and subscribe.